Happy Wednesday. Are you ready for the next step in our learning about crystals? You ready to learn about what is color and how do our eyes see it? Anyway, here I am, ready to enjoy this with you. What is color and how do we see it? The eyes allow color to be perceived and interpreted by the brain. They account for approximately 70% of our total sensory perception, not only of color, but also perspective and distance. The eye's ability to filter and interpret light contributes to the majority of our everyday experiences. How we see things, that's what perception is. Because what we see influences how we feel and how we react in almost every moment. Structures of the eyes. Ooh, we're going to do a little physiology lesson on the eyes here. Each eye is a small, roughly spherical structure that is about 1 inch or 3 centimeters in diameter. That means across. Only 1/6 of its surface is exposed to the outside. This is the eye we see in a person's face. The remainder of the eye's surface is set back on the inside of the skull, the back of the eye, and is protected by a bony socket. These eyes, or the eyes, connect to optical nerves that relay the impressions of light back to our brain, particularly an area at the back of the brain called the visual cortex, where visual impressions are interpreted by our brain. Ooh, here we go, we're getting a little in depth here. Inside each eyeball are a number of important structures. There is a lens that becomes thinner when you look into the distance or thicker when you need to see close up. The iris, the colored part of the eye, see, mine are blue, is actually a muscle that changes the size of the pupil, which is the tiny black dot in the center. So let's see, the iris, the colored part of the eye, is actually a muscle, all right? And it changes the size of the pupil in order to control the amount of light, in order to control the amount of light entering the eye. And at the back of the eye is the retina, which is a layer of 2 types of light-sensitive cells called rods and cones. The rods help us see in darkness and distinguish black, white, and shades of gray. The cones enable us to see red, green, and blue, and are better suited to detecting fine detail in daylight. And here's a picture of what we were just talking about. I'll bring it up really close right there. Can you see it? I hope you can see it. That's too close. There we go. There are the parts that I was just talking about. So next is light and our eyes. The main rays of the color spectrum appear in a rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. I like indigo and violet and blue. When sunlight splits white light into colors by shining through water or rain droplets, there are other bands of light our eyes cannot see, such as ultraviolet rays from sunlight and infrared rays used in security systems or in the remote control of your TV. Electric light is artificially created and operates mainly in the visible part of the spectrum. Over millions of years of evolution, our eyes and brains have become used to interpreting color. Red, oranges, and yellows appear warm to us, and they have a stimulating or energizing effect. Ooh, okay. So this is where it gets into the crystals. So again, reds, oranges, and yellows appear warm to us, and they have a stimulating or energizing effect. Greens, blues, and violets are cooler hues with a more soothing effect. Although we live in artificial environments, we still long for outdoor landscapes filled with blue sky, and we enjoy the colors of flowers balanced by the green leaves. The contrast. I love the contrast, which is like a really deep blue sky with a really bright white cloud. That's what contrast is. For thousands of years before the invention of electric light, the rhythms of our lives were far more governed by the presence or absence of natural light. Excuse me. And the effects of light on our eyes dictated how we lived. Wow, that was cool. Next part is entitled An Expanded Color Wheel. Traditional representations of the color wheel show 7 shades found in the rainbow: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet. However, close examination of an actual rainbow in the sky shows that the main bands of color are not distinct. They merge into each other. They blend. So, for example, from deep green, the color slowly changes to turquoise, blue and green mixed together, and then to aquamarine, which is pale blue, and then into the pure blue shades. The gradual bleed or blend of color creates a whole new palette of more subtle shades, all of which are represented in the range of available crystals. All right, next part is the expanded spectrum. 20 shades are represented here, including tones such as brown, which is linked very much to the physical earth, and silver gray, exemplified by the metal silver, yellow gold to include the metallic element gold, and even black, the opposite to white in the spectrum. Black is a very important resonant shade in healing and does not always have negative associations, being seen rather as a cleansing vibration. Wow, okay. White is the shade that encompasses all the colors of the spectrum. I didn't know that. That's really cool. If you paint a circle with 7 true rainbow colors and then spin it fast enough, the shades will all merge to white. This expanded spectrum of color is exciting because it provides an opportunity to distinguish more clearly between subtle differences in shades. Light purple as a shade, for example, is exemplified by pale amethyst crystals, and lilac is similar, but with a hint of pink. Lavender quartz is a good example. A softly lilac-colored variation of the rose quartz is lavender quartz. In the blue and green area of the spectrum, there are many variations of color illustrated in nature by an image of the sky and the ocean together. Earth, when seen from space, shows that our blue planet actually contains all the shades from turquoise to aquamarine to deep blue. Some people have a more restricted impression of colors, not because they cannot see them, but because their minds have not had the opportunity to learn to appreciate the subtle shades. Working with crystals and studying them closely opens the eyes to new levels of vibration in the form of color. Once these are recognized in the context of stones, they will be noticed elsewhere. Vision, the interpretation of what we sense through the eyes, can be trained. This is important. It can be trained to expand into new areas. Allow the crystals displayed in the directory to bathe your eyes with new color frequencies. Well, that's cool. And here is the expanded color wheel. See the star? Really pretty. I did not know that color had such an impact on our interpretation of what we see in our world, and that it had an effect on vibration, how we feel, our energy level. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. We'll get to the next part tomorrow, which is color healing. And we are already on page 14. Cool. I hope you've had a good day. I hope you enjoy this. I love you, sweetheart. All right, talk to you later. Bye.